hypocrite Bryant out here trying to clap back at white evangelicals for their support of Trump, who spoke at the Turning Point Believers Summit in Palm Beach, Florida yesterday for saying that he loves Christians, but he's not a Christian. It's no surprise that these black, hypocritical, liberal pastors will look for any reason to justify their rejection of God's law, painting Trump and his supporters out to be dictators while keeping black congregant slaves on a Democratic plantation. But before I get into this video, take a moment to make sure you're subscribed to the channel and don't forget to click the notification bell.
And vote. And again, Christians, get out and vote just this time. You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed. It'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian. I love you. Get out. You got to get out and vote. In 4 years, you don't have to vote again. We'll have it fixed so good you're not going to have to vote.
Well, apparently, Jamal Bryant made a post and said, "Evangelicals, you have 24 hours to respond. This is your God saying he's not a Christian and making it plain, if elected, there will be no more elections. Let the spinning begin." I find it interesting that all of a sudden Jamal Bryant is concerned with Trump not being a Christian, yet the slave master uses the pulpit every week to propagate antichrist agendas. Sir, were you looking for a Christian when you asked young girls to line up in the front row of your church to show admiration to Stacey Abrams? And yes, I'm talking about the same woman who said abortion was a solution to ease inflation. I mean, you certainly can't care about Trump not being a Christian when you advocated to vote for Raphael Warnock.
Older white men been telling him what to do, telling him what school to go to, where to live, where to eat, where to buy a house, where to run, where to sit down, where to sleep, where to pay for abortions, where to buy a gun. And you think they not gonna tell him how to vote? In 2022, we don't need a walker, we need a runner. We need somebody who gonna run and tell the truth about January 6th. We need somebody who gonna run and push for the cancellation of student loan debts.
Y'all, this is why these black liberal pastors can't be taken seriously. They forget about their corrupt deeds and don't even realize that they themselves stand condemned. Yet, Trump deeds appear to be more biblically aligned, so biblically aligned that one of the things he mentioned during the speech is defeating Marxism, something the pulpit pimp Jamal Bryant supports, but for whatever reason, that part wasn't clipped because he knows he's a huge advocate for teaching his congregants black liberation theology, which in essence focus on the oppressed and the oppressors.
Our task is to defeat socialism, to defeat Marxism, communism, to defeat the cartels and the criminals and the human traffickers trafficking women. And that means defeating Kamala Harris in a landslide. We want a landslide this November. We want something too big to rig, too big to rig.
Do you see why these pulpit pimps hate Trump so much? Because he's in the way of their antichrist agenda. Yet, he's painted as a white dictator, which is why the pulpit pimp made sure to say, make it plain, if elected, there will be no more elections. Someone even said, he said in 4 years you won't have to worry about voting anymore. He's trying to start a dictatorship, and people don't even see it. This is the mindset of people who follow these black liberal pastors. Everything with them is about black and white. The white man this, the white man that. Yet, they were supporting a white man, Joe Mumbling Biden, and had nothing negative to say about him because he supports their theology and narrative. But see, this is what happens when you follow a social gospel. Your claim to be a Christian is useless. Meanwhile, the president doesn't even claim or adhere to being Christian, but is more biblical than you. Make it make sense.
And with 4 more years of Harris, who was worse than Joe Biden in a true sense and far more liberal, America will be decimated by migrant crime, demolished by fascism, ravaged by rampant inflation, and impoverished by the complete obliteration of American energy. They don't want any fossil fuel no matter what. In other words, good luck. I hope you enjoy walking to work. As everyone here understands, the radical left ideology Kamala supports is really militantly hostile toward Americans of faith. And you saw that during the pandemic where people couldn't get together. Even when they wanted to get together with big spaces outside, they were ravaged. As a senator, she viciously attacked highly qualified judicial nominees simply because they were members of the Knights of Columbus, suggesting that their Catholic faith disqualified them from serving on the federal bench. Kamala Harris supports California's outrageous new law trampling on parental rights and allowing minors to change their gender without parental notification or consent. Can you imagine? She's in favor of that, by the way. Harris wants to forcibly compel doctors and nurses against their will to give chemical castration drugs to young children. You know that, right? She totally supports that. And she supports the Biden-Harris Title IX policy of forcing every public school in America to let men into women's and girls' locker rooms. As president, I will protect the safety and well-being of America's children. I will defend the values of the American family. And above all, I will restore common sense to Washington, D.C., because Republicans, and I said this for the last year, and I think it's so true, we're conservative and all of that stuff. But you know what? We're the party of common sense. Till then, Republicans must win. We have to win this election, most important election ever. We want a landslide that's too big to rig. If you want to save America, get your friends, get your family, get everyone you know, and vote. Vote early, vote absentee, vote on election day. I don't care how, but you have to get out and vote. And again, Christians, get out and vote just this time. You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed. It'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian. I love you. Get out. You got to get out and vote. In 4 years, you don't have to vote again. We'll have it fixed so good you're not going to have to vote.